I think that's my AI proof skill set, that I'm good with people. I'm good at building real relationships. I genuinely take an interest in people, and that's not a skill that's going to be replaced by AI. But that's the only thing I got, so I got to use it.
I love it. Vincent, you are the head of growth at US Digital Partners, and it looks like you have a pretty fascinating career. Like, you started as a sales executive, and you've ran your own podcast, and now here you are as like a head of growth for US Digital Partners. And I just love to hear from you how you got to where you are today.
Yeah, man. So yeah, that's pretty accurate, everything you said. I grew up in the Boston area, didn't know what I wanted to do. When I was a senior in high school, actually, I interned at a law school. It was like a co-op you could do to get out of class. I wanted to do that. I like to argue, so I thought maybe I'll be an attorney. While I was there, though, I met a guy who was a serial entrepreneur, and he kind of turned me on to entrepreneurship and just networking in general. Fast forward, I decided that I didn't want to jump right into taking on a bunch of college debt, took a gap year. I traveled around Europe. I backpacked in France. If you ever heard of the Camino de Santiago, I did part of that. Yeah, so just bouncing around. And then the guy who was in the Boston area who had gone to the school I went to highly recommended it. It was a good liberal arts education, well-rounding. You study all the great works. And you could also get a business degree. So I decided, hey, that's where I'm going to go. I only applied there. I got in, got a little bit of a scholarship, and I went. So I went to Texas, and that's kind of the beginning of my serious path. While I was there, I graduated in 3 years. My senior year, I got a full-time position at a software company, and I was doing tech writing. Realized I hated that. And yeah, just editing a document over and over is not my strong suit. And they had a very small sales team, so it wasn't really an option to jump into that team. So actually, I left the company after a year and did door-to-door sales, and that was kind of how I cut my teeth.
Oh, wow.
In the sales world. Learned a ton in that experience. I did that for about 8 months in South Dallas, selling solar for people's roofs. It's a hard gig. Did that, and then while I was there, I got engaged and was like, I need to make a little more money, have a little more stability. I was looking for a new job, and my role at Allstate, where I was for about 3 years, came up. A good friend of mine from college, actually, his brother-in-law was the head of our VP of sales, so ran the sales team for the mid-market. And we were a national team representing the Allstate brand, the Good Hands people, selling to 50 plus size companies. So we're selling, $1 million, multi-million dollar health insurance policies. And I was, I think, 23 when I came on the team. So I was the youngest guy in that organization. Started having some success in that role. You're just basically networking with brokers and getting to know them. And yeah, that was really where I kind of got my background in sales, doing those two things. It's funny enough, the owner of US Digital Partners, a guy named David Breakount, is the uncle of a friend of mine. So it's all who you know in business.
Yeah.
He and I had stayed in touch after his wedding a couple of years ago. And every time I was up here in Cincinnati for work, I'd reach out and say, hey, you want to go grab lunch, or let's just get together. And yeah, he happened to reach out at a good time where they were looking for a sales role, this head of growth role. And, I was open to it at the time. And yeah, here I am. So I've been in this role. So we moved, my wife and I, at the time we were very mobile. We were living in a van full time that we built out.
Nice.
Yeah. So
That's cool.
Yeah, we had no ties to Texas at that point. So we could just be anywhere and move anywhere. We had all our stuff with us. So we moved up here, and yeah, now we live in downtown Cincinnati, and in the mix of everything. And yeah, US Digital Partners were headquartered right in downtown as well. So yeah, it's a fun background, but that's
cool.
Long story long, I guess.
That's awesome. So van life, you did that for a few years, yeah?
I did it for 6 months, my wife and I. Yeah.
6 months. Okay.
Well, the plan was to do it for full time for a year. And 2 months into being full time, my wife got pregnant, and then that was not fun anymore.
Yeah, I bet.
She had a pretty rough time in the first trimester, so we were like, this is not great. We got to get out of this situation. So yeah, it worked out really well that they reached out. We're all in office here in Cincinnati, and that was a good fit.
Wow, what a cool background, man. That's cool. Van life. I mean, I feel like that'd be a fun, like, a little stint, like 6 months. Really pretty wild.
You get to get rid of a lot of stuff, or you put it in storage. We ended up getting rid of most of our stuff, and you have like one nice pair of clothes, a couple t-shirts.
Yeah,
you bare bones for sure. but it makes life more fun. That's why I got the flow. That's part of my spirit.
Love it, man. I love it. So, Digital Partners, for those listening that don't know what US Digital Partners is, like, what do you guys do?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we're
Yeah.
a full service digital marketing firm. We got started building websites back in the early 2000s, I think 2001, kind of right at the beginning when you really started needing a website to perform and to stay relevant as a business, especially B2B type businesses. And so we had a ton of success building websites for very large organizations. We still do. We're well known in the Cincinnati market. So like there's a lot of Fortune 100 companies headquartered here, for example, like Kroger, grocery store chain, Procter and Gamble, GE. So we've done a lot of work with those types of folks. And then we work with a lot of mid-market clientele as well in Cincinnati, around the country, as well as across the world. So yeah, now it's evolved from just building websites to doing everything to, the execution side of things where you have paid ads, video work, SEO, now AEO, which is I'm sure we'll get into, which is a huge area that we're exploring right now is how do you show up when people are using ChatGPT? That's going to be kind of a make or break thing for a lot of businesses. If you're not showing up and more people are using those tools, it's going to be your loss. So yeah, that's kind of us in a nutshell. We essentially work as an extension of the team of either marketers or just as a business as their essentially fractional marketing team. So that's how we end up working with folks.
That is really cool, man. That is, yeah, that's fascinating. So it's just a massive marketing firm that works as like a fractional marketing team. Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't say massive. We're definitely more boutique. We're still
Okay.
about 25 people, a full-time.
Wow.
Yeah, so we
Okay.
shoot above our belt for sure. We work with some large brands and we're not that many people, but yeah, we the plan is over the next few years to grow steadily, but we don't want to jump into too much too quick, but our clientele speaks for itself. Who we've worked with has been pretty awesome.
That is really cool, man. That is awesome. So you work at a marketing firm
Yeah.
and you're doing a whole bunch of B2B stuff. And I know you're more on the sales side, but I am curious, do you have like a favorite like B2B marketing strategy?
Something that we found that's starting to really work and really applies to AI as well is kind of a model. It started a couple years ago with a book called They Ask You Answer by a guy
Yeah.
named Marcus Sheridan. It's now been revamped to also incorporate AI. Endless Customers is the new name of that book. And the kind of essential philosophy of that is answer all the questions that your clients have, that people who are looking for you may have. And so building a really robust, frequently asked questions page, disclosing what your pricing is. A lot of companies don't want to do that, especially B2B companies like, call us for a quote or talk to a salesperson. Most people nowadays hate that. They want to see what it costs. They want to know what the engagement's going to be. And so for us, that's been a huge source of increased business internally for, people coming and finding us those answers, finding us on ChatGPT. And then also for our clients, helping them build that out. So they have this kind of appendix of stuff. And then that plays into everything else you're doing, like your newsletter. You can recycle all that content for your really informative newsletter about your industry and then put that on social and ads and all this stuff that you should be already doing, but it helps with
Yeah.
that as well.
Yeah, I love that. That's so I work as a marketer at Paramify, which is like a Series A like tech startup, and I was like the founding marketer there. And yeah, basically they ask you answer has been our whole methodology like from day one.
Yeah.
And so that's really cool to hear. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's like the whole playbook for us.
That's awesome. Yeah. No, it
Yeah.
definitely works.
Yeah,
And
it
we see
works
it with
so
more
well.
organizations too, like it's working for you guys. It works almost for every industry.
Yeah, yeah, it's like people want to work with who they trust and who they view as like the thought leader in the space. It's like, yeah,
Exactly. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
I love that. So you've been with Digital Partners for a while now. I'm curious how you've seen like your team's approach to marketing as technology's been changing, more and more AI tools have been coming out. Like, has your strategy changed at all?
Yeah, that's a great question. Our first thought when AI really started popping up on the scene was how can we use this for our clients? Is there a practical application for AI that might be useful for the types of folks that we work with? And that's still an open question. We're still figuring out, that's kind of what every business is trying to figure out. How do we use this? Is it an operational play? Do we optimize our accounting teams? Is it for sales? Is it for marketing? Is it everything? And for our clients, we're helping them with their marketing. We're helping them grow and essentially achieve marketing excellence.
Hmm.
And for the best service that we've found so far is trying to capture more of the mid funnel. So we have some partnerships with organizations that are going about, I can't speak about too much of it yet since it's still not fully formed, but trying to capture more of the middle funnel with people who visit your website to give them more information about who you are, get them into the funnel, get them into the pipeline. So a salesperson can talk to them, answer the immediate questions they have. And there are really creative ways that we found some partners that do that, and then ways we're exploring that internally to capture more of that.
That's really interesting. Yeah. So with your team, is there any tools in particular that they kind of gravitate to like help them with efficiency, maybe on the sales side, or maybe it's
Yeah.
like helping with climate fulfillment? Yeah.
Yeah, we use a couple tools now. On my side, for the sales side, we've gotten into using tools like Seamless.ai, which will help us emails, phone numbers for our ICP targets we're going after. Things like Surf, if you haven't heard of that, it's a great application to can auto enrich contacts in LinkedIn. So it builds a native LinkedIn, essentially another spot where you can see their phone number, their email. I can add them right to my CRM. So building
Wow.
relationships with companies like that, we use that a lot in the sales side. Our developers are using no code tools like Replit and Base 44 and other things like that to help speed up projects. I know our performance marketing folks are using AI tools to help them better audit accounts and look at the metrics a little more thoroughly. Building we're looking into using AI to almost do like no UI dashboards. So that's something that we're looking at. There's so many practical applications for it, even internally. But yeah, our whole thought behind AI is how can we learn about this and then use it for our clients? How is AI going to help best serve them in this new world? And really, the main thing, like I was saying before, is what most businesses are going to struggle with is showing up in ChatGPT, Gemini,
Hmm.
Grok results. And how do you show up there? That's going to be the biggest problem. And nobody really knows yet,
Hmm.
but it's
Yeah.
mostly a content play, is what we can see so far.
Yeah. Yeah. I am curious. Do you guys see anything that is working better than? I mean, you mentioned it's a content play, but is there any specific type of content that is working better than others for AI optimization?
Yeah. I don't know if we have a firm answer on that yet. We started getting our first AI like leads recently through our
Yeah.
work that we've been building our FAQ pages out and trying to just, what are all the questions that we've heard from a sales standpoint? What are people wanting to know about our pricing, how we work, the things we are going to deliver on, the tools we use, how we do ad audits, how we build ad campaigns, all these things. And people are finding those because we're structuring those articles, those FAQs as long form questions, like how you would
Mm,
actually answer it. Where before when you would, put that for Google search, it's not going to be the same as AI because AI thinks like a person. AI is writing like a person. So yeah, so I mean, I don't think we have a firm answer yet, but we're starting to see some results doing that at least for ourselves.
yeah, yeah, that's really interesting. I know with my team, what we've been seeing to kind of perform the best for AI optimization is basically like writing like tier list articles, which is kind of interesting. Just
How do you
like,
mean?
yeah, like let's say we're in the cybersecurity industry, it'd be like top 10 FedRAMP products. So like a very niche
You're
specific
speaking
thing.
a
Yeah.
language I don't know anything about. What's a FedRAMP?
FedRAMP. Yeah, so that is a basically a cybersecurity certification if you want to get deals with like the federal government. That's
Gotcha.
just yeah, yeah.
Hence
So
the Fed.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And so basically that's what we've seen to work best on our end so far. But you're right. It's like such a gray area right now. There's no like clear answers as to what's performing better than others. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's certainly interesting.
Well, that's the whole thought leadership thing. And that's why we really like endless customers because that's kind of the whole idea is how do you be the thought leader in your space? And that plays into another side of our B2B approach is like LinkedIn. We want to
Yeah.
really lean into being more human as more and more companies, marketing agencies go the whole spamming everybody with a billion AI written emails with supposedly good content about the person. Like, I see where you live.
Yeah.
our thought and our philosophy is that most people think that's corny. It's not going to
Mm-hmm.
work. We don't
100%.
advise our clients to do that. I think as AI becomes more and more indiscernible from people, like Sora's videos are amazing now.
Yeah.
People are going to want real connection. And one of the few places that you'll be able to confirm if you're talking to a real person is LinkedIn. So we have a huge effort across our team that we have, myself and 15 other of our employees posting regularly on LinkedIn, and everybody's
Mm-hmm.
kind of found their own niche in that space. But just having a brand, having a voice so that when people are, connecting with you and seeing you, that if they are interested in digital marketing or any of our services, they know who you are. They can trust that you're a real person. When I reach out, they know I'm not, a bot. It's a real person behind the text or the phone call, not just, an AI robot.
Yeah, yeah, that is something that I think is so critical nowadays. Is it's like almost everybody, especially decision makers in B2B, are getting just
Oh yeah.
spammed basically with multiple just like AI sales pitches or just like things that are very like impersonal. Like it feels like a bot is talking to you. And
Totally.
yeah, like I think what you're saying, like having content on LinkedIn and having a presence there, because it's yeah, you're right. It's one of the only platforms where it's like makes you verify you're a person. Like you
Yeah,
have to like upload a driver's license and stuff to be
exactly.
verified. Yeah, yeah. It's like a kind of a safe haven from that. Like, which is funny because it's like a lot of the content on LinkedIn is like heavily AI, which is hilarious. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think you're absolutely right in that, and it makes me think back to something that I tend to help with, and I tend to help like businesses set up like podcasts and stuff as like a relationship building tool with
Yeah.
that same ethos in mind. And I'm curious, with U.S. Digital Partners, do you guys help businesses like set up podcasts or anything like that?
No, we've never set up podcasts for our clients as far as I'm aware. I haven't been here the whole history of the company.
Yeah.
Podcasts, I've talked to a number of people about this strategy, I wonder if it'll be quickly saturated in the space. I mean, podcasts are everybody and their mother has a podcast. Before we
Absolutely.
I had a podcast. So whether it's work related or not, but the strategy behind that is it's not about the views of the podcast. It's about the relationship that you build with the real person, which ultimately is what everybody in sales and marketing is trying to do, is have a literal meeting with a person where you can establish a human connection so that when they think to buy the thing that you sell, you're the person they think of,
Mm-hmm.
Boil it down.
100%. Yeah.
That's it. That's all it is. So I think the podcast solution is great for that. We'll see. I'm curious if there'll be too much of it in the space where everybody will have a
Yeah.
podcast, but the first movers on that I think will have a lot of success. So being the cybersecurity podcast or the whatever digital marketing podcast, there's an opportunity there for now.
Mm-hmm.
That might change, but yeah, it's definitely
I
a great way to
yeah.
meet people and build relationships.
Yeah, I completely agree. So like through Paramify, that has been like a fantastic like demand gen tool for us. This is like exactly what you described. It's like
Yeah.
view count does not matter at all. Those are vanity metrics. Do not care about that. The whole point of this is to build a relationship with
Yeah.
somebody. Like, and you're right. I echo basically everything you just said. It's like the whole point of like marketing and sales is like, and like the stuff you see say on LinkedIn or whatever, it's to get to that point where you can actually go and talk to somebody and actually build a relationship with them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, and the
yeah,
second tier of that is like when you're doing all this like activity on LinkedIn, like I post a lot on LinkedIn.
yeah,
The backbone of all that is having these FAQs, having all the questions answered already. So when
yeah,
somebody starts digging and doing a little bit of homework, they can find all the answers. They don't have to talk to you first. So when they do ultimately have that conversation, they feel like they trust you, they know you, they know the cost, the involvement, they know all the things that they would need to know to make a buying decision. Like if you're selling a product, then you should just have the ability to sign up on your website. There's no
yeah,
reason to talk to a salesperson. But like for service businesses, the sales is so much easier. Like for example, we built out a pricing framework for websites, which we were using internally, but we hadn't disclosed to clients. So when people came to us, we would scope out a website, post conversation with them, figure out what they want to do, what they want the website to do. Now, what we do is when somebody comes to us, hey, we want to build a website or refresh the one we have, we'll send them our pricing guide and tell us, hey, let us know what, essentially bucket of price ranges you fall into based on the qualifications of what you need to have done. And then they come back and say, okay, we're in B, we're in this price range. Great. Well,
hmm
that's the cost. And
Yeah.
that's what you're going to get for that price range. And our close ratio has gone up. We've doubled our close ratio on
Wow.
website projects just doing that because they're self-qualifying or they're
Yeah.
self-qualifying out. Like they're not even reaching
Yeah.
out in the first place because they find all that stuff. So it's been huge from a time saving standpoint from the sales team that we're closing more deals, we're talking to the right people, and we're not wasting our time trying to qualify or have those conversations.
I love that. The same type of thing, like with Paramify, it's like being able to have answers to almost any question that someone could have. Like it's a cheat code. Because yeah, you're right. They self qualify or self disqualify, and it saves so much time.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Well, this is have you heard the term the answer economy?
Yes, I have. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's just we are in the answer economy where, yeah, if you want an answer to something, you better be able to find it. And if you don't provide that answer, they're going to go somewhere else.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Yeah, and it's interesting too with that idea in mind. How many companies still to this day like obfuscate? And they're like, hey, no, you have to go through like 3 sales calls to even get the answers you're looking for.
Yeah,
I see that a lot on like the federal cyber side of things, which is really interesting.
there's a lot of bureaucracy over there still.
Yeah, yeah, it's a little bit slower than everything else. Yeah, um, yeah. So we talked about AI a little bit in the beginning of our conversation. I just want to loop back over to that. I'm just curious. I love asking people this question. Where do you see AI going in, say, the next 5 years?
Man, that is a hard question to answer. If you had asked me this question, I don't know, 5 months ago, I was so black pilled on AI. I'm like, oh my gosh, everybody's going to be replaced. You just see how fast it's moving. Now so just from like a societal standpoint, macro view, people are the bottleneck in the adoption of AI. We're
Mm,
not going to let it completely replace us, and nor will it, because again, humans are the bottleneck. Like we're the ultimate thing that is trying to serve. And if we don't like how it's serving us, we're not going to use it.
mhm.
So I think it'll be adapted to the things we're already doing. It's going to help the the jobs that people do. Some jobs obviously will be gone. Like you
Absolutely.
won't need
Yeah.
to have some jobs, but I think sales is not going to go anywhere. I think
Yeah.
people are going to want to talk to a person even more. Some of the developer jobs, yeah, the entry level jobs might be harder to get, or you'll need to be a little more trained up. But developers aren't going anywhere. Like you're going to need somebody who understands the code that the AI is writing to make sure it's working. And so it'll be kind of like the industrial revolution, where you have people managing the machines rather than being the ones like sewing together pieces of fabric.
Yeah.
So, in the next 5 years, the economy is going to look, a bit different,
Definitely.
but I think these tools are just going to help us do our jobs better. I went to an AI conference here in the Midwest a couple of months ago. Yeah, when I went into this conference, I was so like, oh my gosh, we're all gone. And I left
Yeah.
it's funny, I left that conference feeling more excited about one, working at USDP because we're more technical than the average firm. We can really we've built our own LLMs. We've built our own tools.
That's cool.
We're going to be more needed by companies trying to adopt these systems, plug these systems together than a lot of other places and a lot of other companies. So I think we're really well positioned for this AI transition.
And
Companies, the websites aren't going to go anywhere. They're actually going to be more important now, I think,
mm,
especially in the world of marketing. Like, where is AI going to pull the information about you from? The
mhm,
website may not be designed as much for the human experience, but it's definitely going to still be needed. It's going to be needed so that the AI agent, if we get to that point, will be able to find everything it needs and execute a sales, um, process or whatever that ends up looking like. So I think the websites are not going anywhere. We're going to
mhm.
be more into the digital age. But yeah, I don't know. That's kind of where my thoughts are right now on it. It's changed over the last year.
Yeah, yeah. I'm very much with you. I have noticed that I have kind of swung on both sides of the spectrum of like I completely black pilled like, oh, we're cooked. This is it. Like
Yeah.
we're done. And then also to the point where it's like, oh, actually, actually it seems like the progress isn't going at that same exponential rate that has been, which is kind of nice to see. But then also, you're right. Like, I don't think people are just going to let AI overtake everything, even if it could. I don't know if that's going to be at least in the near future, say next 5 years, 10 years. I don't think that's probably something that's going to happen.
Well,
Like,
And it's
Yeah.
we also now kind of understand more about like when it first came out, it was magic. It's still magic,
Yeah. Yeah.
but when you like when you see, oh, it's lying to me. Like if I don't specifically to say like don't tell me something that's not true, and even when you do that, sometimes it'll still lie. So, we can't totally trust it. It's not totally reliable. But that being said, I had the experience. I have almost a 1-year-old daughter. And when she was 6 months old, something like that, she got a fever, woke up in the middle of the night with like 104 fever. It was first time as a dad, like, what do I do? I'm super tired right now. It's 3 a.m.
Yeah.
And I had this decision to make while I was sitting there, like, do I Google what to do or do I ask ChatGPT, which I'd, been leaning more to. And I asked ChatGPT and it gave me, and then I could ask a question back, like, okay, well, she has this, here are her symptoms. Well, it would, prompt me. I could answer some more symptom questions. And then it's, told me what to do. So that's the power of it. That's where I think just from the sales standpoint, the buyer's journey, where people can actually ask questions about your company. And if ChatGPT or whatever, LLM you're using, if it can't find the answers, it will make them up. And I think a lot of
Yeah.
don't understand that. Like when we first were like prompting, like, tell me how much a website costs with you, it's digital partners, or, all these questions about us, it was totally wrong. And now that we have built out, really robust FAQs, we're still cranking out a ton of those. We have pretty aspirational goals for the year, building out like an LLM text file that, can actually read and find those answers. Answers are amazing now. Now it actually gets it right. And now we're starting to see leads come in through ChatGPT. Like we're talking to a company, the marketers out of South America, the companies, based all across the US, like they found us through ChatGPT, even though we're a small boutique firm in Cincinnati, Midwest Ohio, and we're not a New York firm or anything like that. People are starting to find us through that too. So it's really cool. And I think, the more niche a business is, it's going to be even more powerful for them.
I completely agree. You mentioned a little bit earlier in our conversation, you mentioned conferences, about like how, I mean, you attended a conference like recently, it was an AI summit. I'm curious on your thoughts on like what the future of, say, trade shows and conferences will play in this future where it's like, yeah, most people are going to be selling themselves through content and through marketing and through digital platforms. Do you see conferences and trade shows being like a important part of this future to like, yeah,
Yeah,
counteract that kind of stuff? Yeah.
that's hard to say. My
Hmm.
general philosophy about the new world is going to be people are going to crave human interactions more, like just from a non-work level, like the coffee shop is going to be even more popular, especially if more
Okay.
people don't have as much money to spend, like that I can get a cheap coffee and hang out with people, with other humans in a space. Like you're already
Hmm.
kind of seeing that, like the best coffee shops in Cincinnati are packed all the time.
Yeah.
It might be industry specific is how it shakes out.
Yeah.
Manufacturer might continue to have like there's a huge international conference biannually in Chicago called oh my gosh, I'm gonna blank on it. I was just there. IMTS. It's a
Mm.
huge trade show in Chicago right on the lake. Probably over 1 million people are there over the course of the week. I don't think that trade show is going anywhere. I went and walked the floor and cold approach people while I was there. We had some clients there. Those trade shows, I don't think are going to go anywhere. I think people will want to
Hmm.
shake the hand of the person they're working with. Other industries, they might struggle with that,
Yeah.
but generally, I think people are going to want human interactions. That's where I think this going.
Yeah. Yeah. I I'm with you. I think it's definitely going to be industry specific. However, I think not any, but most industries that are very focused on like B2B, I think that's where it's like, I think trade shows are going to be like super vital because it's like, even like right now, say for the company I'm currently at, Pramify, we get a whole bunch of our leads through trade shows. And it's because it's like, I mean, it's one of the only places where you can meet, say, decision makers for some of these larger organizations. Is either like trade shows or it's podcasts or, then it's like one of the various things, but it's more, I'd say, luck than strategic, I guess, to
Yeah.
get them into
And
the
why do
phone.
they
Yeah.
work? They work because the people in your industry, you're talking to the people that you're ultimately going to work with.
Yeah.
What remains to be seen is whether people will do that as much virtually. Like COVID kind of changed the game on that. That like, yeah, I'll take an interview with somebody or I'll do a virtual call with a client versus being there in person with them. That might change. People may
Yeah.
want to have more in person stuff, and the trade shows become the thing again, like in the
Yeah.
80s.
Yeah.
Who knows? It's still, up in the air, but I think it'll be a mix of both. That you have all these, let's be as human as possible. Let's meet people where they are. Let's not come across fake. Let's give them answers. Let's just, be as transparent and human and honest as possible so that people can make real decisions of who they want to work with. Um, Anyways, yeah, I think that's where it's going.
I love it. I love it, man. So earlier in the podcast, you mentioned a few AI tools that you are using, like on the sales side, and some tools that other team members are using on, say, on like the marketing side and client fulfillment side. I'm curious if you know of any AI tools that you consider like as under the radar that you would recommend people check out.
AI tools that are under the radar. That's a good question. Yeah, I think Surf. I tell everybody about Surf. Full transparency, we do have a partnership with them, but I found them and I've used them for a year before that we established that partnership. The fact that I can add people directly to my CRM with all their enriched details from LinkedIn, which is where I do a lot of my prospecting and where a lot of our clients do their prospecting, is awesome. And I know they're getting into like, you can partner, so like say we have Seamless, or you could use Apollo or Zoom Info, and you have, credits with that platform. You can use those credits in Surf and build lead lists and like,
Wow.
integrate. So super cool tool. I love that tool. Version of that tool is awesome. This isn't really an AI tool per se, but we use RB2B, if you've heard of them, as a
No.
website traffic. So kind of like you, it sounds like a lot of our leads historically have been inbound leads. So referrals, people finding us. RB2B gives us insight into who's actually on our website. Like we can see,
Mm,
the analytics of website traffic, but with RB2B, it de-anonymizes about 60 to 90% of the website traffic that's coming to our site and links it to like their LinkedIn profile. I can see what pages they were on. So like one of the things I'll do is reach out to those people. I can see that they were on our website, that they were looking at, the contact us page, looking at some
yeah.
of our work in my ICP. Like, and I had a guy the other day who I reached out to. I just sent a connection request to. He said, wow, so perfect timing that you reached out. You're on my list. Like, oh, I wonder how that happened. So yeah,
Cool.
RB2B it literally is little letters RB. They run a great webinar series that they put on once a week. That's really good. The founders of that company. But yeah, so some of these small tools, we all use ChatGPT. The way to use ChatGPT, in my opinion, is like build a project within ChatGPT, upload all the documentation you can about your company, what you do. And then over time, it just gets better and better. So you have all your company chats, your conversations within that project, and ChatGPT just gets so much better at giving you good content. Like
Yeah.
for me, you're just quoting stuff and writing emails and all that. Like that's such a time saver. Yeah. And then if you're on the sales side, like using a tool like Seamless or something like that to build lead lists is insane. Yeah. That's a big change.
Yeah. Yeah. That RB2B tool sounds really cool. Like that sounds so useful.
Yeah. I can show it if that's of interest.
But yeah, that would be awesome, man. Yeah. That
We show it.
yeah, we were talking about like, so we use HubSpot and you can gather some data through HubSpot, but it's like very rudimentary. Like you can't really pull contact information unless it's like they gave it at some point in the past. So
Yeah. So
that
I think having the RB2B and Surf from a sales standpoint are amazing. So like this is our website traffic. I can see who's on our website,
uh,
who the names are, who's been visiting us, what pages they were on, things like that. And then Surf is fantastic. I can share. Let me see. Let's share the same screen now. Let me pull this up. I'll show a different screen. So Surf is really cool. Like if I look myself up. Oh, look, there's many Vincent Roberts.
whoa, do you have custom colors on LinkedIn?
Of course, man.
Yo,
You got to use
let's
Arc as
go.
a browser. That's the other AI browser. But like this is the native within LinkedIn is Surf popping up, and I can do stuff over here with tasks, but I can add them. We use Pipedrive. I can add them directly to Pipedrive. I can add contact information, their phone number. I can see the labels, at least in Pipedrive. It'll be different if you have Salesforce or HubSpot, but like you can add stuff about the person. You can take notes and tasks. So this tool, like also paired with RB2B, like I see somebody in RB2B that I like. I can go right, to LinkedIn. Surf pops up. Now they're in my CRM. They're on my drip campaign. They're in get my newsletter. Whatever I want to do has been those two tools I would highly recommend to everybody.
That is insane.
Yeah.
Both of those look awesome. Like,
Yeah. I can get you a link.
honestly, please do. And we can throw it in the show notes for everyone that watches this.
Yeah, sure. We'll do.
Yeah, that's really cool, man. That's really cool. Dang. That's like the best answer to that question ever, dude. Like that's fantastic.
I
That's
try to be
awesome.
practical. You gotta stay practical.
Yeah, yeah. That is cool. Yeah. Okay. So we've gone over a whole bunch of AI tools and we've mentioned a bit about like how important like relationship building and all that
Yeah.
is when it comes to B2B and business. And I am curious, what do you view as your most AI proof or future proof skill set?
Yeah, it's what we've been talking about, relationships.
Yeah.
I'm pretty good. This is a humble brag. I'm pretty good at building relationships with people quickly.
Mm-hmm.
One quick story. I had an old sales manager who I'd met in person like once before this, and we were having dinner, and we hadn't had like a lot of drinks or anything like that. Maybe we had had a cocktail, and we're chatting, and I'm just asking him questions. And all of a sudden he's talking about like his deep family secrets and, like the relationship he has with family members and things like this. And he's like, how the heck did you get me to talk about this, man? So I think I have a gift for that. Like I told my wife, if the apocalypse happens, I think we'll be okay. I'll just form, a little army. So, I think that's my AI proof skill set, that I'm good with people. I'm good at building real relationships. I genuinely take an interest in people. And that's not a skill that's going to be replaced by AI. That's the only thing I got. So I got to use it.
I love it. Yeah, it's interesting. So basically that's also been like the moral of that question every single time that I've asked it on this podcast. Again, this is like the 5th episode. But everyone's like, yeah, I think it's probably going to be my soft skills. Like it's not like all the hard skills are like, yeah, no, it all comes down to relationships. Like, can I make friends with somebody? Can I like, yeah.
All the technical stuff, like the cost of technical knowledge is going to zero. Like,
yeah.
I don't need a coder anymore. I don't need an attorney anymore. I don't need an engineer. Well, maybe engineers will get pissed at that, but like the technical skills, I can use AI to do those things now. But like, yeah, the soft skills, that's what people want. That's always what people have wanted. You want the soft skills, but can you have the technical skills? Now you just need the soft skills and you can learn everything else or implement something to do the thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So interesting. Yeah. I'm really excited to see just where things turn in the future, but I think we have a pretty good grasp on where things are headed. It's like, yeah, soft skills, way more important. Relationships, really important. The more technical hard skills, less and less and less. And yeah, it's going to be a really interesting few years, I think.
But yeah. We're going to live through the craziest technological revolution in history, which is crazy. Like, what? How did I get to this? I mean, we got people launching rockets to Mars soon.
Yeah.
We're living in a very weird time.
Yeah, I always say, I'm like, this is like the best time to be alive by far, just because it's so interesting.
Yeah.
With AI, internet, even like the fact that we're able to have this conversation right now, it's incredible. It's like we reflect back, like let's say 50 years. It's like all this would be impossible.
Yeah.
Complete sci-fi.
Yeah,
So
the
fun.
fact that we have a supercomputer in our pocket. Like, I think somebody told me that our like current iPhones have like 3 times as much processing power, or maybe more than that, than the entire Apollo program.
Yeah. It's like, okay.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
It's insane. It's insane. Yeah. Vince, before I let you go.
Yeah.
Do you have any links or anything you would like to share with my audience before we go?
Yeah, man. I'd encourage people, if you're looking for a digital marketing partner, check out usdigitalpartners.com. We're a full service digital marketing firm, act as a fractional team to help you grow and get some momentum in your marketing. And then I'll also share those links to RB2B and then Surf. I would highly recommend, anybody check those out, because those have been absolutely pivotal for me in my role and getting connected to people. But yeah, man, I'll share those as well, so you have those.
Awesome. I love it, man. I'll make sure to add everything in the show notes. And yeah, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Eden.
This was a really fun conversation.